Good evening, and thank you for watching this Denver 7 News Update. This is a sign of a damaged system. 33% of Americans are extremely worried about getting seriously ill. 40% are extremely worried about how they'd pay for it if they wound up at the hospital. The high cost of care is a known issue. Leading Democrats said today that a public option is part of the solution.
And the public option is a state-run insurance plan that you can buy instead of using your company insurance or buying it from the marketplace. Similar to Medicare for all. Democrats say it'll be cheaper than what we're currently doing.
Now, Republicans have flashbacks to the Obamacare fight in 2009, when then President Obama famously said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, and that did not prove to be true for everyone.
So in tonight's 360 report, we'll bring you both parties' view on lowering health care costs. We'll also show you how the public option has worked in other states and break down why insurance companies are going to fight so hard against it. Denver 7's Russell Haythorne leads us off.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today.
Democratic lawmakers on a Zoom call today rolling out a proposed state-run public health care option.
Coloradans are ready for a new day in our state.
During that Zoom, several Coloradans, like teacher Noel Emerson, sharing their hardships. She says she often puts off investments at the expense of high health care.
I have also decided not to invest in my future with wanting to buy a house, with wanting to save money, or even take care of my student loans. I can't afford that as an educator because my deductible is extremely too high.
Nearly 1/4 of my income.
Stephanie Salazar recently lost her employer-sponsored insurance and now pays more than $1,000 a month for health insurance.
This puts me in a very difficult financial situation and means I must make some trade-offs. Between the cost of my mortgage and my health insurance, I expend 60% of my monthly income.
The new public option has two phases. The first phase would attempt to drive down healthcare costs, with insurance companies offering standardized plans across every zip code. If the healthcare industry fails to meet phase 1 goals, the state would launch phase 2, a state-offered health insurance option.
This isn't about imposing government mandates on the industry or forcing anyone to give up health care that they already have and like.
But it faces a wall of opposition from private insurers, hospitals, and conservatives.
This is not good for Colorado.
It sets us up for failure.
Some argue this bill forces doctors and hospitals to provide care at low state-mandated prices, which could potentially lower quality of care and put some rural hospitals out of business.
With these rural communities, I mean, they already have to drive an hour or so to a hospital.
Senate Republican spokesman Sage Nauman says this bill is even worse than the one that failed last year.
Last year's version said if you're a hospital or a doctor who decides to not accept the public option patient, we're going to fine you. This year, they're threatening to take away their licenses.
The Colorado Hospital Association says while the first phase is workable,
at least it includes a market-based initiative on the front end.
The second phase is no good.
The second phase of this, the kind of true Colorado option piece, as it's currently drafted, just goes way too far.
Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
And if hospitals decide to hold their ground under a public option, it could get expensive for consumers. We've already seen this play out in Colorado. UC Health is not considered an in-network provider for any of the Denver metro counties on the state marketplace right now after contract negotiations fell through last year. Patients who saw UC Health doctors before this year must find new care or pay out-of-network prices. And the big question is, how many people would actually use a public option? More than half the state gets insurance through their job. Only 7% is buying through the Affordable Care Act marketplace.
We've already seen one example in Washington State, which launched a public option last year. The premium you pay for a public option plan in Washington isn't much different than what you'd pay for the plans offered by private insurers. In fact, in many counties, the public plan is more expensive. Washington's program did make things less expensive. The average insurance premium, 2% cheaper this year. But officials were hoping for a more significant impact than that. And here in Colorado, Democrats say they are hoping to reduce premiums by 20% over the next 2 years.
We are breaking down this proposed law in much greater detail on thedenverchannel.com, and you can check that out right now. We'd also like to hear from you about this very meaty subject. Email your thoughts to 360@thedenverchannel.com. Lawmakers have decided a fence is the best way to protect the state capitol from vandals. The chair of the Capitol Development Committee says they've looked at 4 or 5 proposals, each of them wrought iron fences about 6 feet tall. Now, this comes after more than $1 million in damage was done to the Capitol during protests last summer. State Representative Edie Hooten says the building will remain accessible and welcoming. Of course, the idea has its critics. Former House Speaker Terrence Carroll says a fence only fuels distrust in the government. Just over 4,000 fans will be allowed at Nuggets and Avalanche games at Ball Arena starting next month. That's about 22% of the arena's capacity. It's welcome news for sports fans, as well as for the arena employees who can return to work after a long year.
We want to be back, and we want to give you the experiences that you guys deserve, that you paid for. And we are more than anxious to get back and do that for you.
Kroenke Sports says it will be hiring between 400 and 600 workers to fill jobs in admissions, food and beverage, and security, among others. An entire block within Denver's Governor's Park neighborhood could be bulldozed to make way for apartment buildings. At the end of February, a certificate of demolition eligibility was filed for 701 and 711 North Grant Street, home to 4 restaurants owned by Frank Bonanno. We have learned that someone filed an application to designate the block a historic designation ahead of tomorrow's deadline. They have 60 days to state their claim.
Temperatures warming up nicely here over the next couple of days. A lot of melting will be taking place. Highs in the upper 50s for Friday, 63 for Saturday. It'll be warm and dry. And then our next storm system comes into the state. It will affect the high country on Saturday evening with snowfall. And then we'll see a chance for rain and snow on Sunday afternoon and evening. Our temperatures will drop to about 50 degrees. Then we have chances for light rain and snow through the beginning of next week, while our temperatures will be in the mid to upper 40s. We'll have upper 20s going in through Tuesday and Wednesday. Then partly cloudy skies on Thursday with a high of 55 degrees. So to end the week, we'll have those temperatures in the upper 50s on Saturday. It looks great. 60s for highs. If you are skiing or boarding, we'll have temperatures in the 40s on Friday. Some snow developing into the evening on Saturday. Otherwise, sunny skies for much of the day. And Sunday, we'll have rain and snow into the evening as our temperatures drop. So for Monday, at the bus stop, it looks like we'll have temperatures mostly in the 30s early on. A chance for rain and snow, and that lasts into the afternoon as well, with temperatures in the 40s. But you'll notice our temperatures, they stay in the mid to upper 40s, so we have better chances for rain than we do snow. We'll have that change over as our temperatures cool at night.
We'll be back with more local news at 8 o'clock, but first, discover inspirational stories from across the country. Good to Know starts after a quick break.